Swamy, Rajiv ji, Ram Bahadur Rai ji, Major General Bakshi. I request Dr. Swamy and other guests to please step here for Deep Prajvalan and start the ceremony that each one of us is looking forward to. Namaste, I am Ruchi Sood. Foundation for Assertive Dharma welcomes you to the launch of Sri Rajiv Malhotra's new book, Academic Hinduphobia, a critique of Wendy Doniger's erotic school of Indology. The book is a compilation of various essays and articles written by Rajiv Malhotra around 15 years ago, which he offered the first effective resistance to the baseless and sophisticated attacks on Hinduism by the Western academia. The articles are substantive and hard-hitting and are based not on appeals of emotion or religious sentiments, but expose the poor scholarship of these so-called scholars. These writings have not only shaken the very foundations of the mammoth Indian school of thought, which had enjoyed a free pass, but these have also roused to wakefulness a critical mass of Hindus. Introducing the author, who needs no introduction, Sri Rajiv Malhotra. Rajiv ji, in his power-packed schedule during this trip, he just got into Delhi today morning from the first ever Swadeshi Indology conference held at IIT Madras. He has conducted the original research in a variety of fields and has influenced many other thinkers in India and the West. He has disrupted the mainstream thought process among academic and non-academic intellectuals alike by providing fresh and provocative positions on dharma and on India. He has authored hundreds of articles, provided strategic guidance to numerous organizations. Some of the focal points of his work are interpretation of dharma for the current times, comparative religion, globalization, and India's contributions to the world. Rajiv Malhotra is the full-time founder director of Infinity Foundation in Princeton, New Jersey. He also serves as the chairman of the Board of Governors of the Center for Indic Studies at the University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth, and is the advisor to various organizations. Rajiv ji's Infinity Foundation has given more than 400 grants for research, education, and community work. His Facebook page, rajivmalhotra.official, is touching 6 lakh followers with his FB Live videos, which are generating a lot of enthusiasm amongst the readers of his books. Following are his game-changing books, The Battle for Sanskrit, Being Different, Breaking India, Indra's Net, and the latest, Academic Hinduphobia. Introducing our chief guest for the evening. Whatever a great man does, that very thing other men also do. Whatever standards he sets, the generality of men follow the same. Dr. Subramanian Swamy. Dr. Swamy is the 6th-time Member Parliament, though he needs no introduction, but it's my honor to acquaint the distinguished gathering here about his incredible life. At age 24, he was a professor of economics at Harvard University. At age 35, he fought the emergency imposed by Indira Gandhi. He has been Union Cabinet Minister for Commerce, Law and Justice. He got the Kailash Mansarovar pilgrimage route opened from the Chinese government. He got a stay from Supreme Court against the demolition of Rama Setu. He is an economist and a self-taught lawyer who has successfully fought numerous PILs and corruption cases. He has been instrumental in the exposure of the 2G corruption scandal and is the petitioner in the National Herald case. I have not finished yet. The first to expose the UPA government for its various scams, and his unstinted support to PM Modi is well known. The Election Commission conceded to Dr. Swamy's suggestion to give paper printouts with the use of EVMs. Author of 21 books, including India's China Perspective, Ram Setu, Symbol of National Unity, The Virat Hindu Identity, and Hindus Under Siege, to name a few. 76 years young. He works tirelessly and he sets the bar high for us to emulate. Thank you, Dr. Swamy, for making time to give your blessings on this occasion. I now introduce Padam Shri Ram Bahadur Rai Ji. He is the president of Indira Gandhi National Center of Arts, IGNCA. He pursued MA in economics from BHU and diploma in mass communication from Rajasthan University. He has an experience of 36 years in journalism. During his early days, he was closely associated with Sri Jai Prakash Narayan and actively participated in the emergency movement. He has been closely associated with Akhil Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad, ABVP. He has published some renowned books like Rehbari Ke Sawal, Manzil Se Zyada Safar, and an autobiography of Bhanu Pratap Shukla, an eminent writer on Indian history and culture, as well as the autobiography of Acharya J.B. Kriplani. In 2015, he was awarded the 4th highest civilian award, the Padam Shri. In 2016, he was appointed President IGNCA. I now introduce Major General Dr. G.D. Bakshi. Major General Bakshi was inducted into 1971 war on the very first night of his commission. A veteran of many skirmishes on the line of control and of counter-terrorist operations in Jammu and Kashmir and Punjab, he was awarded the Vishish Seva Medal for commanding a battalion in operations in Kargil. He is a prolific writer on military as well as non-military matters and has published 35 books and authored over 200 papers in many research journals. He holds a master's degree in defense science, an MPhil in strategic studies from the University of Madras, and a PhD in strategic studies also from the University of Madras. Everyone's favorite on the 9 p.m. news show, Major General Bakshi. I now request the chief guest, Dr. Swamy, and others on the dais to release Rajiv ji's new book, Academic Hinduphobia. I invite the first speaker for the evening, Dr. Swamy, to share his thoughts with all of us.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure for me to be present at the presentation of the book written by, or long series, this is the latest of the long series of books written by Rajiv Malhotra, and be also on the same stage as General Bakshi and my old friend Ram Bahadur Rai. Rajiv Malhotra was actually in a totally different line before. He was one of the senior most executive of a top telecom company. And I don't want to mention what salary he was getting, it's very obscene. And he gave it all up one day, set up a few trusts, one for his wife and daughter and one for himself, and devoted his full time to writing about a most unpopular subject, namely the true history of India. But Rajiv Malhotra was a menace in United States. He's still a menace. People are afraid to debate him because he speaks in the language of the elite, flawless English. His arguments are very well structured. His data and research is unbelievable. I've stayed with him in his lovely house in Princeton. It's all books, books, books everywhere. And I don't think ever even goes to see a movie because he's all the time writing or reading a book. And it's an act of sacrifice. And that too, he is working in the most hostile environment, namely the Western world, particularly the United States, where there's a complete gang up if you don't go along with the views that they have designed for you to hold. He has challenged every thesis that has come out of the West. And this latest book is about the erotic interpretation of our history, where people like Wendy Doniger, whose book was ultimately withdrawn when the formidable lawyer sitting here on behalf of Batra moved a petition in the court. They wilted, the publishers, and withdrew the book. this whole idea of the Western scholarship on India appears to be to debilitate you in some way. It began with Macaulay to make out that you didn't exist as a nation. And the duties of English professors like Romila Thapar and others, they propagated that we were not even one nation. We were Aryans and Dravidians. First the Dravidians ruled, then the Aryans came from Khyber Pass, from Europe, and then drove the Dravidians to the south, and that we are essentially two communities. And in fact, the British were managed even to start a movement called the Dravida Munnetra Karagam, of which Mr. Karunanidhi is presently the leader. And they cooked up all kinds of stories, including that Ravan was a Dravidian king, and Rama was a Aryan Raja who came in his act of imperialism and killed him. And it took a long time for me to convince Karunanidhi that actually Ravan was born in Noida, in Basra. But Karunanidhi still dislikes Rama, and at the slightest provocation he gets angry. One day when I was arguing in the Supreme Court on Ram Setu, he held a press conference and said, "Who's Swamy to call this Ram Setu? Was Ram an engineer? Which engineering college he went to? That you can call this Ram Setu?" Of course, God had his revenge. Next day he fell sick and he had to be taken to a hospital, and the hospital's name was Ramchandra Medical Hospital. So I wrote him a letter saying, make sure that he's got an MBBS, Ramchandraji. This is the kind of thing to weaken you. Modern science today says we are one people. The DNA of our people is the same. Physical attributes like complexion and all have no bearing whatsoever on your DNA or your race. That's got to do with pigmentation response to the sun. Closer you are to the equator, you are bound to have darker skin. But the DNA shows that all Indians are the same and that we are one nation. And these are some of the myths that we are slowly breaking. The British used to make fun of our worship of Saraswati River. They said it's mythical, and the whole of Vedas are mythical because Vedas mentions Saraswati much more than it mentions even Ganga. And then it turned out that indeed there is Saraswati. Modern science has discovered it, like they have discovered Dwarka under the water. So therefore Ramayana and Mahabharata are now clearly, as we say in Sanskrit, itihasa. It is a historical story of what happened in India. So we now need to create a new mindset, a new Indian who is proud of his past, and that past is when we were 100% Hindus, we received the Parsis, and looked after them, so much so when the British left, they asked the Parsis that you are such a small minority and the Hindus might swallow you up if we can give you reservations to protect you like we have done with the Anglo-Indians. And the Parsis said, for 1,000 years the Hindus have looked after us, you don't have to bother, you please leave, we'll be looked after quite well. And the same way the Jews too came here and they stayed here, we built their synagogues, and when Israel was formed, the first resolution passed by the Israeli parliament is, thank you India, the only country where the Jews were not persecuted. That is the tradition. And to make you feel inferior, to make you submit, this mind control which was started with Macaulay is now in much more sophisticated form, and that is what this book is all about. The very first page almost summarizes beautifully the content of this book. And he says, the author says, it is to be remembered that nearly all the bullets fired and the police atrocities committed during British Empire were done by Indian sepoys under British command. Today, the Indian sepoy archetype found in Western academia and journalism often does the dirty intellectual work of their masters. That is the substance of this book. This Hinduphobia that is there in the academia, where they debase, they caricature, they make fun of the Hindu scriptures, is part of a sinister design to again mentally make you submit to the views that they want you to hold. So I am very pleased to see this latest book. I've been telling Rajiv Malhotra, why doesn't he write a textbook of Indian history so that we can so that with Ram Bahadur Rai's influence, I can get it prescribed as part of the curriculum in our universities. And I look forward to more and more books from the fertile mind of Rajiv Malhotra. I wish him well. We all consider him as a giant intellectual, and we hope that he will again and again guide us to liberate our minds from the enslavement of the Western world. Thank you.
Thank you, Swamiji. I now invite the next speaker, Shri Ram Bahadur Rai ji.
मैं डॉक्टर सुब्रमण्यम स्वामी जी को इस बात के लिए धन्यवाद देता हूँ कि इन्होंने मुझे यहाँ आने का अवसर दिया। 4-5 दिन पहले या कुछ दिन पहले मैं इनसे मिलने के लिए गया था, और तब इन्होंने कहा कि तुमको इसमें आना है। मैंने हाँ किया। और आप शायद नहीं जानते, डॉक्टर स्वामी का आदेश मेरे लिए पहले से ही, बहुत सालों से इनका कहना ही मेरे लिए आदेश हुआ करता है। और मैं इनको दोबारा इस बात के लिए भी धन्यवाद देता हूँ कि राजीव मल्होत्रा जी से मिलने या उनकी किताब को पढ़ने का भी इन्होंने अवसर दिया। उस दिन उन्होंने एक किताब मुझे दी थी, और उसको थोड़ी बहुत अपने दौड़ भाग के बीच मैंने पढ़ने की कोशिश की है। ये जो पुस्तक है जिसका लोकार्पण अभी हुआ, अकादमिक हिंदूफोबिया, इसमें राजीव मल्होत्रा ने महत्वपूर्ण बातें कही हैं और मौलिक बातें कही हैं। महत्वपूर्ण बात किस अर्थ में कही है, ये अगर आप पुस्तक देखेंगे, पलटेंगे तो पाएंगे कि विशाल अग्रवाल से जो इनका इंटरव्यू है उसको आप पढ़ें। उसमें उन्होंने महत्वपूर्ण बातें कही हैं, और पुस्तक के अध्यायों में मौलिक बातें कही हैं। मैं केवल 2 बातों का जिक्र करूंगा और फिर अपनी बात पूरी करूंगा। पहले ही अध्याय में इन्होंने एक ऐसी बात उठाई है जो आम तौर पर हम लोगों के जेहन में नहीं होती, और वो ये है कि जो अंग्रेज़ों ने या ब्रिटिश सरकार ने हमारे यहाँ जो जनगणना की प्रक्रिया शुरू की, उस जनगणना की प्रक्रिया ने हमारी पहचान को और हमारी एकता को तोड़ दिया। अब ये विश्वविद्यालयों में ये बात नहीं पढ़ाई जाती और आम तौर पर हम लोगों की चर्चा में भी ये बात नहीं आती। हम ये मानते हैं कि जनगणना से कुछ गिनती वगैरह हो जाती है, कुछ बातें मालूम हो जाती हैं। कम लोगों ने इस बात पर ध्यान दिया है, खास करके हमारे यहाँ के इतिहासकारों ने भी इस बात पर ध्यान नहीं दिया कि हमारी जनगणना ने जो आमतौर पर मैं जहाँ तक समझता हूँ 1900 से जनगणना शुरू हुई, लेकिन उसकी जो नींव पड़ी वो 1835 में पड़ी। तो और जनगणना से जो पद्धतियाँ और जो प्रक्रिया विकसित हुई उसमें भारत के नागरिक को, भारतीयों को एक ऐसी पहचान अंग्रेजों ने दी जैसी वो चाहते थे। वो हमारी पहचान नहीं है, लेकिन उन्होंने वो पहचान दी और उस पहचान का असर ये है कि आज दलित विमर्श जो इस देश में चल रहा है या दूसरे जो विमर्श चल रहे हैं वो उस जनगणना की प्रक्रिया का परिणाम है। हमारे यहाँ सामाजिक स्तर पर और राजनीतिक स्तर पर जितनी विकृतियां हैं, उन विकृतियों की जड़ों को अगर आप तलाशेंगे तो आप पाएंगे कि भारतीय जनगणना की प्रक्रिया में वे सारी विकृतियां हैं। और उसके इतिहास को अगर आप खोजें तो आप पाएंगे कि जनगणना के एक एक स्टेज पर, यानी 1910 में जो हुआ उसको बदल दिया गया 1920 में, जो 1920 में हुआ उसको बदल दिया गया 1930 में, और इस तरह से जो जनगणना की प्रक्रिया हमारे यहाँ चली है वो अगर आप देखें तो भारत के विभाजन की अगर कोई एक वजह है तो वो जनगणना की एक प्रक्रिया है। और इसलिए मैं कहता हूँ कि राजीव मल्होत्रा ने ये बात उठा करके एक मौलिक बात उठाई है और वह मौलिक बहस इस देश में और हमारे समाज में और हमारे बौद्धिकों के बीच में चलनी चाहिए। दूसरी बात जो इन्होंने उठाई है वो भी मेरी समझ से बहुत मौलिक बात है। वो जाति प्रथा के बारे में है। वर्ण, वर्ग और जाति, ये तीन शब्द हैं। वर्ण हैं हमारे यहाँ, वर्ग और जाति दी हुई है। और जो ये मानते हैं, आपने सही लिखा है इस पुस्तक में, जो ये मानते हैं कि जाति एक अस्थाई तत्व है, वे इतिहास को नहीं जानते। अभी 2-4-5 दिन पहले मेरे एक मित्र आए जो बनारस में प्रोफेसर भी हैं। उन्होंने मुझे एक बात बताई, मैं आपको भी कहना चाहता हूं। और अगर आप इतिहास को देखें तो आप पाएंगे कि जो मैं कहने जा रहा हूं उसके प्रमाण हमारे इतिहास में हैं। ललितादित्य के शासन में हमारे यहाँ 2 नई जातियां पैदा हुई। कायस्थ नाम की जो जाति है वो ललितादित्य के शासन में पैदा हुई। अगर आप जातियों के इतिहास में जाएंगे तो उससे पहले कायस्थ नाम की जाति नहीं है। उसी तरह से मैं जिस जाति का हूँ, भूमिहार और ब्राह्मण, वो भी ललितादित्य के शासन में भूमिहार और ब्राह्मण पैदा हुए। उससे पहले भूमिहार ब्राह्मण नहीं थे, उससे पहले सिर्फ ब्राह्मण ही थे। ये उदाहरण मैं आपको इसलिए दे रहा हूँ क्योंकि राजीव मल्होत्रा जी ने भी अपनी किताब में ये बात उठाई है कि जाति कोई स्थायी चीज नहीं है। भारत में जातियां बनती, बिगड़ती और बदलती रही हैं। और जब जातियां बनती, बिगड़ती और बदलती रही हैं तो अगर हमको अंग्रेज किसी जाति के साथ जोड़ देता है और हम उसको मान लेते हैं कि ये स्थायी तत्व है हमारे लिए, तो हमको लगता है कि हम अपने साथ न्याय नहीं कर रहे हैं और जिसने हमारे साथ अन्याय किया उसके का प्रतिकार भी नहीं कर रहे हैं। इसलिए मैं आखिर में 2-3 बातें और कह करके अपनी बात पूरी करूंगा। मैं चाहूँगा कि इस पुस्तक का हिंदी में अनुवाद हो। मैं चाहूँगा कि ये पुस्तक घर घर में रखी जाए और उस तरह से रखी जाए जैसे गीता, रामायण और कुरान और बाइबल रखी जाती है। और आप जानते हैं कि हम चाहे जिस धर्म के मानने वाले हों, अपने धर्म ग्रंथ को एक बार पढ़ करके छोड़ नहीं देते, उसे बार बार पढ़ते हैं। और जो पुस्तक बार बार पढ़ी जाती है वही धर्म ग्रंथ होती है और उसी का पाठ किया जाता है। यह पुस्तक वह उस श्रेणी में आती है और उसका पाठ किया जाना चाहिए। अगर इस पुस्तक का पाठ किया जाता है तो हम अपने इतिहास की समझ और जो हमारे ऊपर हमले हो रहे हैं उन हमलों का सही जवाब देने में समर्थ हो सकेंगे। मैं अपनी बात पूरी करता हूँ।
धन्यवाद राम बहादुर राय जी। Our next speaker is Major General G.D. Bakshi.
Dr. Subramanian Swamy, Rai ji, Rajiv, Malhotra ji. It's a privilege for me to be here among such stalwarts. Very few countries in the world have been subjected to such an assault on their sense of identity, on their sense of selfhood than India. हमारे देश से ज्यादा इतना बड़ा मुहिम नहीं चलाई गई किसी देश की पहचान सर्वनाश कर देने के लिए। और यह साहब प्रक्रिया शुरू हुई थी 1857 में, जब पहली बार यहां पे व्यापक विद्रोह हुआ अंग्रेजों के बरखिलाफ। और उस विद्रोह को जिस बेरहमी से कुचला गया, हर गांव के बाहर पेड़ों पे फांसी टांग कर लाशें लटक रही थी उस वक्त, जिस बेरहमी से इस विद्रोह को कुचला गया। और यह विद्रोह ब्रितानवी भारतीय सेना जो थी, द ब्रिटिश इंडियन आर्मी, वहां से शुरू हुआ। यह मैं आपको याद दिलाना चाहूंगा। इसीलिए एक सैनिक के जरिए के तौर पे हैसियत से मैं ये बात आपको याद दिलाना चाहता हूं कि आपके सैनिक पहले लड़े हैं इस देश की आजादी के लिए, उसके बाद दूसरे। उस वक्त अंग्रेजों ने यह संकल्प लिया कि हम देखेंगे कि यह देश कभी इकट्ठा ना हो सके, इसको ऐसे तोड़ा जाएगा, हर फॉल्ट लाइन को आइडेंटिफाई किया जाएगा और पूरा इस देश को तहस नहस कर देंगे कि ये देश ये कभी उठ ना सके, सिर ना उठा सके ब्रितानवी सरकार के खिलाफ। और जो पहला आला उन्होंने चुना, जो पहली फॉल्ट लाइन उन्होंने चुनी अंग्रेजों ने, और बहुत अच्छा वर्णन किया है राजीव जी की पुस्तक में इसको, दैट वाज कास्ट। हर कलेक्टरेट में, हर डिस्ट्रिक्ट गैजेटियर में जो होता था, जिस तरह आज हम आधार कार्ड भर रहे हैं, आपकी जाति, आपका कास्ट, आपका वर्ण, आपका गोत्र वगैरह वहां लिखना शुरू कर दिया गया। 1872 में अंग्रेजों ने पहला कास्ट बेस्ड सेंसस हिंदुस्तान में किया। द फर्स्ट caste based census was done in 1872 by the British, and the author of this census was Sir John Risley. And John Risley wrote, as long as there is caste there will be no India. जब तक कास्ट है तब तक कोई भारतवर्ष नाम का देश नहीं हो सकता। ये देखिए कैसे व्यापक तोड़ने का जहर फैलाया गया आपके देश के अंदर। और जब ये काफी नहीं रहा तो सेपरेट इलेक्टोरेट्स दिए गए, हिंदूज को अलग, मुस्लिम्स को अलग, क्रिश्चियंस को अलग, सिखों को अलग। ये जहां जहां आपने सेपरेट इलेक्टोरेट दिए हैं वहां वहां विद्रोह हुआ। पाकिस्तान टूट गया, पंजाब में विद्रोह हुआ, नागालैंड, मणिपुर इत्यादि जहां पे क्रिश्चियनिटी लाई गई थी वहां पे विद्रोह हुआ। आपको सिस्टमैटिकली जो तोड़ा गया है, शायद ही किसी और देश को इतनी बुरी तरह से तोड़ा गया। There is not another example of a country. They said there is no concept of India. Just like the equator cannot be the basis of a country, how can there be an India? मद्रासी हैं, तमिलियंस हैं, ब्राह्मण्स हैं, पंजाबी हैं, बंगाली, गुजराती, कहाँ? वेयर इज द इंडियन? माफ कीजिए, वन ऑफ द फर्स्ट थिंग्स इंडियन, एक अमेरिकन ने कहा, द ओनली थिंग इंडियन अबाउट इंडिया इज द इंडियन आर्मी। देखिए, आज से तकरीबन 9 साल पूर्व मेरे को हमारी नॉर्दर्न कमांड जम्मू कश्मीर में भेजा गया और मेरे को चार्ज दिया गया ब्रिगेडियर जनरल स्टाफ इंफॉर्मेशन वॉरफेयर। युद्ध तो हम सब जानते हैं, लेकिन इंफॉर्मेशन वॉरफेयर, बौद्धिक लड़ाई, ये बहुत कम लोग जानते हैं कि कितने दिमाग, आला दिमाग CIA के, KGB के और एजेंसीज के 24 घंटे 24/7 लगे हुए हैं इंफॉर्मेशन वॉरफेयर वेज करने के लिए। और इस इंफॉर्मेशन वॉरफेयर के, जैसे राजीव जी ने कहा, जिस तरह एक तो थे भारतीय सेना के सिपाही जिनके बल पे अंग्रेजों ने राज किया, और जब उनको विश्वास नहीं रहा कि अब ये हमारे हुक्म मानेंगे, क्योंकि तब तक नेताजी आ चुके थे, इंडियन नेशनल आर्मी आ चुकी थी, विद्रोह भड़क उठा। 1857 का सबने सुना है, बहुत कम लोग जानते हैं कि 1946 में भी भारतीय नौसेना में विद्रोह हुआ था। 1946 में रॉयल इंडियन एयरफोर्स में म्यूटनी हुई थी और उसके बाद सेना में म्यूटनी हुई, और जब यह म्यूटनी हुई तो 40,000 अंग्रेज सिपाही थे, गोरे सिपाही, 25 लाख इंडियन आर्मी जो डीमोबिलाइज की जा रही थी। अंग्रेजों ने तशरीफ का टोकरा लिया और 1 साल में चलते बने। लेकिन जाने के पहले वो ऐसे लोगों को यहां छोड़ गए, वो ऐसे लोगों को यहां राजपाट देके गए जो कि उनकी मानसिक सत्ता की गुलामी आज तक उन्होंने जिंदा रखी। वो कहते हैं ना साहब, रस्सी जल गई, ऐंठ नहीं गई। अंग्रेज चले गए, अंग्रेजियत नहीं गई, वो भी आज तक हमारे सर मरी गई। और बहुत अच्छा राजीव जी ने कहा है अपनी किताब में, वेरी आई थिंक करेक्टली ही हैज पुट इट अक्रॉस। एक हमारे बारे में एक इंफॉर्मेशन वॉरफेयर कैंपेन पहले तो केवल इंग्लैंड ऑक्सफोर्ड से चलता था, अब साहब ये अटलांटिक के उस पार वाशिंगटन और मैसेच्यूसेट्स और सारी यूनिवर्सिटी से ये आपकी तरफ आ रहा है कि साहब भारतवर्ष, कौन सा भारतवर्ष? मुगलों के पहले तो कोई था ही नहीं साहब, ये देश ही नहीं था। यहां तो पागल पता नहीं जंगली जानवर घूमते फिरते थे और उनके साथ वानर सेना। नहीं, जिस तरह आपको डेनिग्रेट किया गया है, सिस्टमैटिक असॉल्ट की आपकी जो सेल्फ रिस्पेक्ट है, जो आत्मसम्मान है, उसे ही खत्म कर दिया जाए, सो दैट द विक्टिम्स ऑफ मैकॉले हैव फुली इंटरनलाइज्ड दैट डिस्कोर्स। The victims of Macaulay have fully internalized that discourse of inferiority, civilizational inferiority. अभी भी हम अपने आप को भूरी चमड़ी है लेकिन श्वेत आत्मा है साहब। हमारी चमड़ियां भूरी हैं लेकिन हम सब अंदर से अंग्रेज बनना चाहते हैं। तभी तो सारी आपके ये जो क्रीम के आजकल एडवर्टाइजमेंट आ रहे हैं ना साहब, चमकदार और चमकदार और चमकदार, ये आपकी देखिए वो मानसिक हीनता कि वी आर इंफीरियर, अंग्रेज सुपीरियर है, ये वो छोड़ गए और वो ये मुहिम अभी तक चली आ रही है। खतरा ये है साहब, और मैं मुबारकबाद देना चाहता हूं राजीव जी को, एक स्कॉलर का इवैल्यूएशन अगर आप करते हैं देन यू डू इट, कि जो प्रिडिक्शन उसने करी, जो थ्योरी उसने बनाई, क्या वो सच उतरी कसौटी, सच की कसौटी पे? आज से 5 साल पहले हमने इनकी किताब पढ़ी थी, ब्रेकिंग इंडिया, भारत को तोड़ने की मुहिम, और इन्होंने तब बताया था कि अंग्रेज संस्थानों में, अमेरिकन संस्थानों में, यूरोपीय संस्थानों में, वहां पे नक्शे बने हैं भारत के और फॉल्ट लाइंस बनी है, एफ्रो, दलित, इस्लामी, जिहादी, मुस्लिम, और ये कॉम्बिनेशन बन के आपके देश को तोड़ने की कोशिश की जा रही। और भाइयों और बहनों, मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूं, हम जम्मू कश्मीर में लड़े, हम लोगों ने हजारों के तौर पे ये टेररिस्ट मारे हैं। जब मैं जम्मू कश्मीर में था 2000 से 2005 तक, तो 3,500 टेररिस्ट वहां होते थे। जितने हम मारते थे, जितने हम मारते थे उतने और भेज दिए जाते थे। तब हमने वो फेंस बनाया और उसके बाद 3,500 से मार 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 कर आज पूरे जम्मू कश्मीर में केवल 179 टेररिस्ट रह गए। लेकिन अगर आप अपना मीडिया पढ़े, आज के आप जरा हेडलाइंस पढ़ ले और इंडियन एक्सप्रेस और टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया के फ्रंट पेज देखे, बुरहान वानी, महात्मा गांधी के बाद बुरहान वानी, उसकी लाश वहां पड़ी हुई है और आप उसको देख रहे हैं। और ऐसा माहौल बनाया जा रहा है कि कश्मीर गो वेंट गॉन, गया गया गया। और ये कब से शुरू हुआ ये तमाशा? लड़ाई हमने आपको जीत के दी साहब, 3,500 से मार के आज 180 छोड़ दिए है वहां पे, और आप वो लड़ी, हमारी जीती लड़ाई हारना चाहते बिकॉज ऑफ दिस इंफॉर्मेशन असॉल्ट, सिस्टमैटिक इंफॉर्मेशन असॉल्ट टू वीकन योर विल टू होल्ड ऑन। ये पतलून ढीली हो रही है साहब बगैर लड़े आपके। अब वहां पे यहां पे क्योंकि आपके मीडिया ने आज से कुछ महीने पहले एक इंडियन स्प्रिंग शुरू किया, जैसे अरब स्प्रिंग हुआ था, एक इंडियन स्प्रिंग शुरू हुआ है। एक इंडियन स्प्रिंग शुरू हुआ है जिसके तहत यहां पे कृष्ण कन्हैया का अवतार हुआ जेएनयू के अंदर। देखिए प्लीज राजीव जी जो कह गए हैं उसे ध्यान दीजिए। मैं बिल्कुल सहमत हूं, बहादुर जी के साथ बिल्कुल सहमत हूं कि ये एक टेक्स्ट बुक बननी चाहिए ताकि आपको पता चले कि एक प्रत्यक्ष युद्ध होता है और चाणक्य नीति में एक अप्रत्यक्ष युद्ध होता है। ऐसा वार की जो कोह के अंदर है वो उसको मार डाला जाए जन्म लेने के पहले, आपके विचारधारा को भ्रमित कर दिया जाए, पूरे देश में यह नाटक फैलाया जाए, आजादी आजादी। कहां पे ये चिल्लाहट हो रही है, चीख चीख चिल्लकाओ कहां हो रही है? जेएनयू में। आप और मैं 3 लाख रुपए प्रति वर्ष देते हैं अपने टैक्स से इनको पढ़ाने के लिए, कृष्ण कन्हैया जी को, जो कि 8 साल से पीएचडी कर रहे हैं। 8 साल से ये पीएचडी कर रहे हैं साहब वहां बैठ के, आपके मेरे पैसे पे, आपके मेरे पैसे पे। जादवपुर यूनिवर्सिटी से क्या आवाजें निकली? आजादी आजादी, हम क्या चाहते हैं? आजादी। वॉर डांस हो रहा है साहब यहां। और उसके बाद साहब हैदराबाद में, और उसका नतीजा जो जीती हुई लड़ाई है, हमारी फौज जो जीत चुकी है उस पर पथराव शुरू हो जाता है। जो बंकर हमने बनाए रोड की प्रोटेक्शन के लिए, उनके खिलाफ साहब ये लड़की से बलात्कार किया। अरे किया, छेड़खानी तुमने करी, नाम आप फौज का लगा रहे हो। अब आप कह रहे हो कि साहब फौज को इसके अंदर पहले तो पथराव करो फिर उसको आग लगा दो। और हमको वहां पे जो चीफ मिनिस्टर साहिबा हैं वो बोलती है आप जल क्यों नहीं गए, आपने फायर क्यों किया, इनके खिलाफ एक्शन लो। तो मैं क्या हुक्म दूं अपने सिपाहियों को? अगर कश्मीरी आपके ऊपर आपको बंकर में बंद करके आग लगाए, चुपचाप जल जाइए। मैं नहीं दूंगा ऐसा आदेश। मेरा आदेश होगा तो लगाओ इनको वापस। देखिए असली हार, देखिए ये असली लड़ने का आला ये लात और पांव नहीं है, असली लड़ने का आला यहां पे है। और अगर यहां पे आप हार गए, मानसिक तौर पे आप हार गए, आप कोई लड़ाई नहीं जीत सकते। रहने दीजिए, चाहे कोई टैंक ले आइए, चाहे कोई तोप ले आइए। अगर लड़ने वाले के हाथ पैर आपने खत्म कर दिए हैं, आपने त्रस्त कर दिया है, कश्मीर गो वेंट गॉन क्यों? जब 3,500 सैनिक वहां पे टेररिस्ट थे तब कश्मीर को कुछ नहीं हुआ। आज 180 से भी कम है, आज कश्मीर के जाने की बात हो रही है। कौन कर रहा है? आपका मीडिया कर रहा है, आपके मीडिया के लोग कर रहे हैं, उनको पैसे मिल रहे हैं। उनके आलीशान मकान देखिए, मकान की कीमत पता करिए, आपको पता चल जाएगा कि हर पत्थर उठाओ गालिब, हर शाख पे उल्लू बैठा है यहां पे, हर पत्थर के नीचे जयचंद आपको मिल जाएंगे। यही चेतावनी दे रहे हैं राजीव जी। प्लीज इस मैसेज को फैलाइए कि मैदान की लड़ाई तो हम जीत के दे देंगे, आपकी दिमागी लड़ाई आपको कौन जिताएगा? आप हमें हराना चाहते हैं, आप फौज के हाथ पैर बांधना चाहते हैं। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जजमेंट दे दी है कि साहब आफ्पा के होते हुए भी हम पूरी वहां पे हकीकत करेंगे। 20-30 साल से क्यों नहीं आपने एक चीज खत्म की? आपने खत्म करने दी, आपने खत्म करने दी। हाथ पैर हमारे बांध के रखो, फिर हमसे पूछ रहे साहब, वो बोले जले पे नमक छिड़को कि आपने मारा क्यों नहीं? अरे नहीं मारा कि तू हाथ मेरे पकड़ के बैठे हो साहब। तो मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि जो मानसिक, जो मनोवैज्ञानिक युद्ध है वो बहुत खतरनाक है, और मैं आभारी हूं राजीव मल्होत्रा जी का कि उन्होंने देश को इसके बारे में चेतावनी दी है। अगर हम इस चेतावनी को नहीं सुनेंगे हम नहीं रहेंगे। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, sir, General Bakshi. I now invite the author, Shri Rajiv Malhotra. Rajiv ji, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Swamy. Thank you, Ram Bahadur ji. Thank you, General Bakshi, and all of you for releasing this book and your kind words. In fact, being in the company of such intellectual stalwarts and leaders and patriots, I'm humbled. I just want to say that this book is to bring back an old battle which I started about 20 years ago. And the reason I want to explain why this battle has to be brought back, I published several articles. Some of these were published in an earlier book called Invading the Sacred, edited by other people, but these were the articles that were written there. And we thought we have won. But you see, after you win, and it's like in the army, you have to then have a plan to occupy. We did not have a plan to occupy that intellectual territory. So I moved on to other books. And I wrote 4 other books, and this is the 5th one. So after moving on to other books, it seems that these people I'm calling Hinduphobics looked at the vacuum which was there, and came back. So पहले तो first time the लड़ाई was with Western people. तो उनको हमने हरा दिया. लेकिन they found lot of Indians available as mercenaries to restart the war. तो फिर Indian sepoys, intellectual sepoys, who are in academics, some are in NGOs, some are in media, left wing, people who hate the country. इस तरह के लोगों को, they got hold of such people and said कि तुम शुरू कर दो दोबारा. So this is why it is important to come back to that same stuff again. But this time I intend to do it a little differently. Last 3 days, we had a conference in IIT Madras called Swadeshi Indology. So we are taking over this field called Indology, which was started by Europeans and Americans, continued it to study Indian civilization. And that Indology, we are calling it Videshi Indology, and not the Indology. And our Indology is going to be called Swadeshi Indology. And this conference is to show the difference between their perspective and our perspective, and take the leading Videshi Indologists one by one and give them response. So in this conference, we created a home team of intellectual Kshatriyas, the first batch. Every one of them wrote a good solid research paper. These will be published in a book in the next 90 days to give them importance. It will be promoted. And then in 6 months, we will do another Swadeshi Indology conference. We will have another batch and another batch after that. The idea is, it's not enough for me to just write a book and then move on to the next book. After each book, because each one opens a new battlefield or new territory we have to attack and take back. But after doing it, I have to leave our intellectual Kshatriyas in charge. So one army goes and wins the battle, but another army has to go and occupy it. So we are now taking this new strategy that after every book, there will be a trained group of young scholars in that subject matter who will become very knowledgeable, able to fight, debate, stick their neck out, have courage, and that is our plan. So this book will also have Swadeshi Indology Conference. Every book will have Swadeshi Indology Conference so that people get really experienced in all the issues. I want to describe to you what the previous speakers already mentioned, the concerted project, systematic project to dismantle our sense of civilization. Now there's many parts to this, many fights, many battlefields within the war. There is a systematic attack on our Shastras, on the Itihas, on the different deities. In this book, attack on Devi, attack on Krishna, attack on Shiva, very specific, very vulgar, abusive things. Attack on symbols, what a certain symbol means, making it something completely different. Attack on gurus, prominent gurus, some old ones, some current ones, very systematically, because gurus are very important for us to refresh our society in every period. And family life is being attacked. Social scientists looking at, abuse and this and that and dowry, this, whatever. So the idea is to attack that. Then sacred places, that this is an environmental problem and this one and that one. And jati, to break up the structure of society. This whole Dravidian movement was orchestrated as an intellectual fight to break up the country into parts. These things are going on. Traditional institutions are being attacked. There was recently an attempt to hijack Sringeri Mutt and put the narrative of the Sringeri Mutt and the international representation of Adi Shankara's teachings in the hands of some pretty left-wing people in Columbia University. And then I wrote a previous book in February just to make sure that doesn't happen. And that created a lot of stir. And so far it has not happened, and we hope it won't happen. So these kind of battles are always going on. So the Indian grand narrative, the whole itihas, the whole story of who we are, which includes itihas, it includes philosophy, it includes all the science and technology, it includes about the different sacred places, the different communities, all of that as the big grand narrative of India, which we should be proud of. We should put it together, put it in theaters, put it in documentaries, have TV shows, have websites, have competitions, have school textbooks. That since we haven't put it together properly, and there are many fragments here and there, which would be a nice project to do, that is being undermined and attacked part by part, very systematically. I was asked to give a talk at the Indian Foreign Service Institute in Delhi by the director last year. And I thought I'll talk about how to represent, I made a talk on how to represent the Indian grand narrative internationally, because you are the ambassadors of this narrative. And there were batch of 30 foreign service people. So it is very interesting what reaction I got. I would say half of them were very proud. And they said, these are amazing things I wish we had been taught. They said, can you teach us more? Can you give us more literature? This should be part of our foreign service training. It makes us feel very proud. The more we know, the better job we can do as diplomats. That was half of them. Unfortunately, about another half, the rest of the students there, had a very bad reaction. One of them said, I come from this northeast, I don't think I'm part of this narrative. Very openly. Another one said, I come from this Dalit community, what narrative you're talking about, they've oppressed me and this and that. Now, I don't want to get into these political sort of communal issues, but it disappointed me, because if you are in the foreign service, any diplomat, you are representing the narrative of your country. It is like hiring a sales manager or marketing person for your company who says, I don't believe in my products. Then why would you hire this sort of fellow? It seems like a very wrong thing. But I don't know how they select people, but there ought to be one filter, a very important filter, on whether this person understands and is proud of the Indian grand narrative. And if he's not, no matter how many marks he got in some subject, this kind of person will be dangerous. So we are actually promoting the sepoys. These are sort of like intellectual sepoys in a sense, because they're going to get jobs and they'll be embarrassed, they will be compromising. And I found this to be the case in many of the external affairs people in the US, where I've known quite a few of them. They're very embarrassed of things which have to do with our Vedic heritage. They will hide behind, hum to secular hain, we don't talk about it, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So this is a very deeply ingrained system in our government institutions. And now we are all very happy there's a Hindu, pro-Hindu government, but many organizations, I don't want to get into specifics, many organizations are being infiltrated, because rather than fighting these organizations, the foreign nexuses decided, let's infiltrate them. Let's buy out some people. Sometimes you buy out the person directly, sometimes through a relative. You send a relative to some Ivy League and he's happy. You give somebody a grant and he's happy. I have a friend who I went to school with, so a very clear friend of mine. He's a very famous economist and mathematician in one of the Ivy Leagues, an Indian person. And he sometimes is called into these selection committee when they're admitting. So he told me that a very large number of financial aid, these different grants, are being given to the children of Indian senior officials. So he wanted to know, why is this happening? So he asked, and they said, no, this is a good investment. So actually, this is a very strategic thing. And now, the latest instrument of intervention are think tanks. US think tanks have entered India in a big way. Previously, Ford Foundation and others like them, Ford I name because it's the largest, so for convenience I say Ford Foundation, but there are many others also. They were giving grants that would bring activists into the villages and cause problem in the villages, poor people, so NGOs. Their idea was how to create a left-wing social sciences and get them into villages through fund NGOs and so on. So that was intervention at the lower strata. And of course there's academic people training the Indian academics, media in the West training Indian media people, and so on. But now the think tanks are the vehicle to target the elite, the very young, smooth-talking, westernized, very polished people. How to co-opt them, how to bring them onto the ideological wavelength of the donor. This is being done through think tanks. Now think tanks are there, you can't help it, but India does not have its own think tanks of the same quality. There are think tanks, but of the same stature, same quality, doing the same depth and breadth of research, putting out position papers and influencing society, influencing policy. We don't have that. So what is happening is a lot of the work that our people are quoting is the work being done by American think tanks based here. So we are going to study Kumbh Mela and how to solve the social problem and the environmental problem, and is there a gender problem, and is there a caste bias, and are some sadhus of north versus south, are there problems? All this bhed to try and create bhed and conflict among different constituents in the Kumbh Mela. There's a huge Harvard project that our people are unfortunately very proud of. Ki, Arey wah, we are so great, they're studying us. So I tell people, if the CBI comes, that you should be very proud if CBI came to my house. And they had only 2 people. After looking at it, they've said now they have to have 10 people because I am so important. I was telling this to somebody, he says, actually in India people do feel very proud because it's a sign that I have a lot of money, So this is sort of the irony. We are proud that somebody is studying us. But we haven't looked at why they're studying us, what are the motives, what is the methodology, what is the consequence. And they're very open about it, that we are there, we are studying public health disasters, pollution, we are studying, crime maybe, we are studying all these kind of issues. But they're not studying it as the sacredness. What is this yagna? What is it? It's not, for us it's something sacred going on. For them it is some kind of a social, political, big extravaganza that can be studied and taken apart. I am predicting this and want to just tell you this right now. In the next few years, you will see a lot of Kumbh Mela litigation, social problems, FIRs, in an attempt to kind of break it up, in an attempt to abuse it, in an attempt to interfere with it. A database was built, Harvard mentioned in their book, in their report, that they have built the largest database of Kumbh Mela attendees, with who are there, what is their, they made them fill out a phone number, mobile number, and as General Ji was saying, General Bakshi was saying, the British did caste kya hai aapki ye, sab kuch like that. So they are making the Kumbh Mela attendees fill out this kind of detail, and then of course one would expect that they'll send somebody following up in that village to co-opt some people there. So you will have people in every district who are part of this database, and this is in the grassroots. So this is kind of thing going on, and you will expect a lot of very proud Indians, very educated, sophisticated Indians part of this. They are the spokespeople. They're very nice on TV. They're doing all this kind of PR for them. So this project is getting more dangerous, more complex. It's morphing, it's mutating, more different ways of intervening is going on. The only way to counter this is to create our own grand narrative and teach it in every school, put it on in media, re-educate our teachers, school teachers, educate the media, have media education schools where this kind of thing is part of the curriculum. So this is not an easy thing to do. And I don't even know which ministry is in charge, because I think HRD has quite a lot of component of this. But Kumbh Mela and protecting it and the divisiveness is probably Home Ministry problem, Home Ministry responsibility. I think the archaeological survey, I don't know, I think it reports to Culture Ministry or something like that. Culture Ministry? Yes, yeah. Archaeological. So you see, archaeology is the evidence for rewriting history. And the history is in the HRD, ICHR. They are doing the history part. But to rewrite history, you need archaeology. So they have to be connected. The archaeologists just discovered a place called Mahendra Parvat in Cambodia, which they are saying is like 20, 30 times the size of Angkor Wat. And they are saying that this was an empire until the 12th century, the largest empire in the world. This is the conclusion of some Australian archaeologists who discovered this site. And the papers are being presented and interpreted, all the data is being interpreted by Europeans. Indians aren't involved, but this is our heritage. We are the ones who ought to be involved. So when you, and then there is Birdana, which is in Haryana, which is older than Harappa and Mohenjo-daro by a few thousand years. Oldest Harappan Indus Saraswati civilization site is not in Pakistan, it's in Haryana. And 20-30 kilometers is Rathi Ghadi, which is also there in Haryana, which is the largest site ever discovered. The point is that the work is being done in isolation. Isolated work here, isolated work there. Nobody has connected it all, and nobody has said, okay, what does it tell us about our ancient history? The whole ancient history has to be written. You look at Ram Setu evidence, you look at Dwarka evidence, all these other things I mentioned, but who's going to do it? The archaeology people are in the culture department, and the archaeology people, it'll take 20 years for all this data to even be published. And some of it is being published in foreign places, interpreted through them. The history people aren't working with the archaeologists. They're not even in the same ministry. So putting these together from multiple ministries into some kind of a civilizational center, somebody who is really the keeper of the civilization, is an important step. The ICCR, Indian Council of Cultural Research, is part of Ministry of External Affairs. So they are the ones who project our culture internationally. So you see, you have 4 or 5 ministries doing different parts of this job of putting together the integrity of our civilization, the proper narrative, and teaching about it, and being ambassadors and educating the world, doing new research in archaeology and genetics and so on. This is being done in different places. So I'll conclude with that by saying that this book is a reminder that a lot of problems exist and a lot of work needs to be done. And I'm very grateful for Dr. Swamy and General Bakshi and Ram Bahadurji for helping bring some awareness to this process. Thank you.